Hey guys, it's Steve on the Guru Brew. Well, this is lesson 5 of all about the CNC router 101 for beginners. This will be the last class in this series. If you missed the other 4 classes, you can catch up here and then come back and watch this one. Most of the other classes, except for the last one, had to do with the computer, because that's most of the battle of doing CAD CAM work is on the computer, and then the rest is the machine, in my opinion. So, okay, today we're going to cut some parts on the machine, and I'll try to narrate as I go so you get an idea of the workflow and how it all works. So, hang out with me and we'll get started. CNC Router 101, Class 5. Okay, so we're ready to begin cutting parts. The first part that I want to cut is this control panel. Now there's a piece of plexiglass on the top of this, and then there is the control panel underneath. And we're going to be cutting the piece that's underneath that houses all our controls, which is this piece here. And this is done on 1/2" MDF, and then it has all the holes for all the fasteners as well as the buttons and whatnot. So I brought this into Mastercam, and here it is. Here you can see how the tool is going to proceed. There's actually 2 tools that are going to be used. One is an 1/8" bit and the other is a 1/4" bit. And the reason why I need 2 tools is for these small holes in the side that are for the fasteners. These are less than a 1/4 inch, so I need to make these 4 holes with a smaller bit, and then I'll finish up with a bigger bit here. And this is what it's going to look like when it gets cut out here. We'll just do a simulation real quick here. Start this simulation out. So the bit comes down, 1/8" bit, pops the 4 holes in the corners like that, and then it switches bits, goes to the 1/4 inch. I'll have to do that manually, and then it goes in and it cuts out all the control surfaces, all the buttons and the joysticks, as well as a reset button here. And then the final cut will be the parameter to cut it out of the major piece of the stock, which it's doing now. And I should end up with something that looks like this when we're done. So the next step is to make the G-code, and for Mastercam I just click on this button here and it makes G-code. Click OK. Save it off to the CNC Room through the network and click OK. Yep. So this is the G-code that it has been sent to the CNC machine in the other room. So okay, we're going to go ahead and go in the CNC room now and pick up where we left off here. Okay, so we're here at the CNC room and we're getting ready to cut our part out on this piece of wood. This is our 1/2" MDF, and our control panel will be cut out of this piece. The first step is to bring that G-code in that we just saved. This is our Mach 3 software that runs our machine, and all we have to do is load the G-code, which is here. And you can see that the G-code went in this little window here, and then over here is a representation of what our part will look like. And I'm going to go ahead and set the camera down now on the tripod. I need my hands, and I am going to go ahead and fasten this piece down to the table and begin setting up to run this piece. So the first thing I want to do is fasten this down with some double-sided tape. So we'll do that now. If you do use double-sided tape, make sure that you buy quality tape. Some of the cheaper carpet tapes don't hold near as well as this blue stuff does. You know, I use tape just about on everything, even though I have that vacuum system that I showed you. as well as the clamps. Tape is just a really quick way, and there's no risk of hitting any clamps when you're cutting. So I've really I've really come to like using the double-sided tape. That's just my personal preference. So I'm just squaring it up here and then pressing down real good. Now we have to go ahead and change our bit. I'm going to go ahead and use my CNC controller here, my Xbox controller, and bring the tool to me. Just like driving a game. So the 1/4" bit is on here now. I'm going to go ahead and remove that and put the 1/8" bit on for our smaller holes. We're going to be using this bit first. We're going to pop in 4 corner holes, and then we're going to switch back to this bit to cut the rest of it out. And the program knows to stop and let me know to change the bit when that happens. So I'm going to go ahead and change the bit out now. And this is the 1/4" bit that will be doing most of the work after these holes are popped in there. So the first thing that we have to do is to tell this bit where our 0 reference is. And if you remember on the last video, we talked about I like this lower left corner to be my 0. So if you can imagine where this line and this line come together, right on this tip would be 0. And then I usually come in a little bit for a tiny bit of waste there. So the first step is to take this and move it so I'm right on that tip, and I just manually move this. So I am very close to the edge, and maybe I can show that to you here. So you can see that my bit is very close to both edges. Now as soon as I have put my bit there, I am going to call that 0. Now if you notice up here where it says X and Y, I'm going to 0 those out right now with my mouse. So I'm going to 0 that and 0 that. So that means that now those two are 0 from now on. Okay? So that will be 0 there. Okay? Okay, the next step is to go ahead and 0 the Z. So what I do for that is go to the center of the piece, and I can use my tool that I showed you earlier. And if you don't have a tool, you can always use just a small piece of paper, and I'll show you that technique too. You just take a piece of scrap notebook paper and you put it under the bit, and you begin to bring your bit down, and you wiggle this so that the paper just barely touches like that. See how it's pulling on there? And then I'm going to go ahead and hit the Z0 on the Z too. So that becomes 0 on there, okay? Now I'm going to go ahead and raise this up. Now when I hit 0 on my machine, everything should go home. Let's see what happens. Go to Z. Ready? And it did. Okay, so now that I have my 0 adjusted, my bit is just to the top of this wood, and then my corner is my 0, 0. I can go ahead and put my dust shoe on and start cutting, so let's do that. This dust shoe is pretty important. Without it, you'd have dust everywhere. And then don't forget your hearing protection. And I'm just going to go ahead and turn the machine on and tell it to go, and it's going to cut those 4 holes, and then it's going to stop and ask me to change the bit, and I'm going to do that, and then we'll continue on. So here we go. Okay, so the machine has stopped now, and the control panel on Mach 3 is asking me to go ahead and change the bit to a 1/4 inch up spiral bit. So I'm going to use my joystick again and go ahead and raise this up. Get it in position so I can change my bit easier. So here's the one we're going to use next. Now, because each bit is a different height, and no 2 bits are the same, we have to readjust our z-axis to zero it out. The x and y are fine, but we must adjust the z again. So let's do that using our paper test here. Just so this paper gets trapped in there. A little bit at a time. You can feel it drag, just like that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and hit my 0 on my Z, so it's zeroed out. And get that paper out of there. Okay. The bit is now changed, and again, we don't have to change our X and Y because those are the same, because the center of the bit is still in the same position. So this bit will finish off the job, so we're ready to go ahead and click the start button again, and when this is done we should have a part. Well, there it is. There's the raw control panel, fresh off the machine. Their double-sided tape did a good job. So it looks pretty good. Let me get the vacuum out and I'll clean this mess up, and then we'll come back to it. You know, it's also a good idea to get one of these fans if you can for your room. It'll help to suck a lot of that dust up. This is an electrostatic fan, and even just a fan in the window would be better than nothing. So yeah, that really helps out a lot. Even though the vacuum system does get a lot of dirt, you know, there's some particles that are missed, and this picks them up. Okay, well, there's the part. I gave it a real light sanding, and I think it looks pretty good. Now I've just got to fit the buttons and make sure they work. And we're well on our way to getting an arcade cabinet going. So hang out next for that, and we'll fit some buttons in. Well, we spent a little time and just stuck the buttons in there to see what it's going to look like. Now this is before the graphics get put on, and then the plexiglass goes over the top of the graphics, and then these screws anchor the whole thing together. I think it'll come out pretty good. Okay, on to something else. I just wanted to show off my homemade little iPack input controller that I made for USB. Last time I showed it to you. If you missed it, I'll put a link up in the corner here how I made this thing. But anyway, I took the guts out of a USB keyboard, and that's this circuit board here and this wire with the USB plug on it. And I mounted it to this piece of plexiglass. You can see everything screwed on the back there. And this will go inside my Mame cabinet, and it will allow me to easily hook wire pairs up to these European connectors that I put on here. I just love these European connectors. I put 3 rows of 8 on there, and you can see I've already got them hooked up to all the pins. And then once I go to hook my joysticks up, I can just, you know, put one here and one over here, or whatever the combination is. So I just wanted to show that off, and it'll probably be the last time it comes out of the cabinet before it goes in. So just a little DIY there. It does take some time to make, but it's kind of satisfying after you get them made. Alright, I just wanted to show that off. Okay guys, well that's it for this series of video classes for the All About CNC Routers 101 for Beginners. I hope that you learned something from these video classes, and you know, if you missed some of the classes, there's 5 in all, you can take this link here and go back through the classes. There's lots of information in there, and by watching these classes you should have a good idea about what CNC routers are all about, as well as CAD/CAM itself, and see if you want to pursue it further. So thanks for watching these videos. The arcade Mame cabinet will continue next week. I'm going to spend the weekend cutting more parts, and I'll film that, and we'll continue construction on that and hopefully start putting parts together next week. So thanks for watching, and take care of yourself. We'll see you next time. Hey guys, this is Steve. Thanks for watching. Hey, don't forget to subscribe if you like this video, and be sure to rate and comment. See ya.